The northeast region of Ghana is one of the country's newest regions. It was officially created in February 2019 as part of a national effort to bring governance closer to the people and accelerate development. Carved out of the northern region, it is an area rich in culture, history, and untapped tourism potential. The region is home to a population of approximately 658,903 people, according to the 2021 Population and Housing Census. It is divided into 6 administrative districts, including East Mamprugu Municipal, West Mamprugu Municipal, Mamprugu Nakpanduri District, Chirpone District, Yunyo Naswan District, and Mamprugu Moakduri District. The northeast region is predominantly inhabited by the Mamprugu people, known for their strong cultural heritage and leadership traditions. Other ethnic groups include the Bimoba, Konkomba, Chokose, and Tampulma. Despite their diversity, these groups coexist peacefully, bound by shared values and traditions. The people of Northeast region celebrate vibrant festivals that highlight their rich cultural heritage. Notable festivals include Dambar Festival, celebrated by the Mamprugu people. It honors chieftaincy and the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Fire Festival, a shared celebration across several ethnic groups, marking the beginning of the lunar calendar. Nadong Festival, celebrated by the Bimoba people. This festival emphasizes community unity and thanksgiving. Mpodang Festival, celebrated by the Konkomba people. Each region is filled with drumming, dancing, and storytelling, offering an exciting glimpse into the traditions of the region. Agriculture is the backbone of the region's economy. The fertile land supports the cultivation of crops like maize, millet, yam, and granules. Livestock rearing is another vital activity, with cattle, sheep, goats being common. The region also boasts of small-scale trading, weaving, and traditional pottery. In recent years, there has been growing interest in ecotourism and cultural tourism, highlighting the untapped potential of the region's landscapes and heritage sites. Our expedition took us to Nalurgu, the capital of the northeast region and the traditional capital of the Mamprugu Kingdom.
My name is Inus Arumiao, popularly known as Director Anas. I will be taking you through some of the potential tourist centers across northeast region. I will be the person behind the camera.
In Nalurgu, we visited the legendary tomb of Na Atabia, the 10th king of the Mamprugu Kingdom, who moved the capital Gambaga to Nalurgu. After his passing, a baobab tree sprouted from his tomb. This tree is an integral part of the kingdom's history, serving as both a tourist site and a shrine. An elder of the kingdom spoke to us about the legacy of Na Atabia Tuwa.
From 1652 to 1682, Na Atabia was the 10th king of the Mamprugu Kingdom. During his time of ruling, he informed his subjects that after his death, a mysterious tree will grow on his grave. As soon as he died, within a few years, this great baobab tree sprang from the grave. Apart from the baobab leaves which we use to prepare soup, the Atabia Tuwa equally has bees, and then anytime there is honey, it makes honey. The honey is usually harvested and sent to the Najiri, or sent to the king, for them to use it as food or for them to use it for medicinal purposes. Besides that, the bees in the tree since time immemorial are always there. And those days when there were wars, it is believed that any time the Mamprugu is going on war with any other tribe, those responsible for doing sacrificial performances to the tree will usually come and do the sacrifices and solicit support from the tree by way of the bees. So anytime there was war, the bees would take lead and attack the enemy. And anytime the enemies are also advancing towards the Mamprusis or advancing towards to attack people in Nalergu, the bees will take the lead first and do the fighting.
Another notable tourist site in Nalergu is the famous Jaringa Wall, built centuries ago with mud, shea butter, honey, human blood and milk. Constructed by Jaringa, a son of Atabia and a king of the Mamprugu kingdom, the wall served as a defense mechanism against invaders and remains a lasting legacy of his reign. Mbatungrana, the Northeast Regional Director of Music and Culture, provided insights into the wall's historical significance.
During the time of the erecting of the wall, any other person who complains or feels lazy was executed, and then they use the body, including the blood, to construct the wall. They didn't actually use water to build this particular wall. Jaringa is the 11th king of Mamprugu. We call this wall a defensive wall because it was built to protect the inhabitants from slave invaders. Other school of thoughts are of the view that Jaringa built this particular wall so that people will be able to remember him. It actually served the purpose because any other people who might have crossed the wall to Nalergu with bad intention, this wall will render such people powerless and your power will not work again.
Parts of the wall remain standing today, enduring the harsh savanna weather conditions for centuries. However, a significant portion has succumbed to the elements, with maintenance and publicity being major challenges. Another significant but underdeveloped tourist site in the Northeast region is the mysterious inscriptions found on rocks in the Zarantenga Mountains. Zarantenga, a village near Nalergu, is home to these strange inscriptions, which were discovered by the ancestors of the villagers during a hunting expedition. The inscriptions remain on the rock, but their meanings continue to elude everyone. Despite its existence for centuries, the inscriptions remain remarkably intact. This ancient message has resisted the forces of time, sparkling widespread curiosity about its meaning and significance. Traveling a few kilometers west of Nalergu is a town called Gambaga, which serves as the administrative capital of the East Mamprugu municipality. It once served as the traditional capital of Mamprugu and was also the administrative capital of the then Northern Territory during the colonial era. In Gambaga, we found the first primary school built in northern Ghana by the British in 1912. The school is still in use today. We caught up with Dr. Musa Yamba, a historian, educationist, and language expert who explained the history of the school and how students were initially enrolled.
So when they started with the Zobzia primary, they decided to put down something like a policy or a law. And the policy or the law was that every chief was compelled to send their children to the school. So I can remember a few names, even though I don't know whether they were the pioneers, but I remember a few names and chiefs who were forced to send their children to school. Budnaba Chimsi, Professor Nabula was also sent by the Bahanche chief. Kedna Mumuni Bawumia, he was also sent by the Kednaba to come and school here. So this was how the British brought in people from the chiefs to start or to revamp the school. As they were coming from faraway places, the British decided to make it a boarding institution. In brief, this is how the white men came into Gambaga or Mamprugu per se, and this is the impact they left behind.
He further explained how the school came to be named Ziyaara Primary School, a purely indigenous name rather than an English one.
The Gambarana by then was red-headed, so they decided to name the school Ziyaara. I am proud to mention that the late Kena Mumuni Bawumia attended this school, and his son, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he should look at the father's alma mater and consider developing the father's alma mater. In other words, trying to plow back what the father gained from the primary school, because it is through the father's education that they are also educated and are at this level. Today, the school is 112 years. Today, we need to celebrate it and let people know that yes, a lot of people have benefited from this school and their families have benefited.
Here, we visited the administrative block that was used as the seat of the governor of the Northern Territory. The building has survived for centuries and is still in a good shape. Old documents, safes, and other artifacts can still be found within it. The National Commission for Civic Education operates an office in one of the buildings. The municipal director of the commission narrated to us the history and significance of colonial structures.
According to history, or the document we came and met here, tell us that it was established or built around 1840. It was built. So when NCC was established, we found it necessary that to seek for an accommodation. That time someone else weren't there. That this assembly then allocated this colonial building to National Commission for Civic Education. And actually, when we came in, we realized that, yeah, there were certain things that when you look at those things, you realize that really it was our colonial masters. They were using those things. And as I tell you now, there are some safes in this office. We do have key to that safe. And the table, we came and made that table. That table is over 200 years. When you come to East Mamprugu, this is one of the oldest building you can find in East Mamprugu. And apart from this painting, the structure is the same.
Another component of the colonial structures is what is now used as the Gambaga local prison. Ghana's first president, Dr. Nkrumah, was once detained in this prison. The bed he used remains intact. However, for security reasons, we were not allowed to film inside the prison.
The British arrived, that was around the 1840s. So when the British arrived, they decided to put up their administration block. Within the same period, they started a depot, and that was in 1846, a depot, and that is today's prison yard that we have in Gambaga. History even have it that the late Osajifo Dr. Nkrumah, when they were fighting for independence and they were arrested by the British from the beginning, he was brought to the prison yard in Gambaga here before we claimed independence.
During this period, some of their officers unfortunately lost their lives and were buried in Gambaga. The site still exists and their tombs remain visible. Currently, the graves of the British officers who died in Gambaga are located deep within the town. However, little attention has been given to their preservation. It would be commendable if the British government, represented by the High Commissioner to Ghana, could visit the graves of these officers and take steps to give the site a befitting facelift. This location has the potential to become a significant tourist site, attracting both local and international visitors. Gambaga also boasts of a beautiful tourist site located west of the town called Pakpuya Bulga. The tortoises in this water body are considered sacred, and the people of Gambaga neither harm nor eat them. Beside the water body where the tortoises live lies a large rock. Dr. Musa Yamba shared with us the history and significance of both the tortoises and the crocodile-shaped rock.
It so happened that there was so much water shortage of water in the whole of Gambaga. So the Gambara and Tembuni got up in search of where he can find water. Then he came across a tortoise. So when he found the tortoise was walking, and he started following the tortoise until it came to that pond. And that pond, he saw many other tortoises in the water. But there was no water feeding into that pond. The water was just springing from the ground. And that water feeds the whole of Gambaga since time immemorial. It doesn't dry. So our great-grandfather Tengbuni said that the tortoise has become the grandfather. So all his generation should not eat of the tortoise, and we should worship the tortoise as our God. That is how we are worshiping the tortoise. Then the river from that spot started expanding and became a big river and a big pond. Then there came a strange crocodile into the water. So this strange crocodile started catching human beings and animals. So these tortoises said, no, we are here as the gods of the land, and we save people. We do not kill or we do not harm any other thing. Once you are here harming, you either leave or we are not ready to live with you here. We will not tolerate you. So they met together, met the crocodile. And the crocodile, seeing that they were looking smallish, was trying to look arrogant. And they collectively shouted on the crocodile, and it turned into the stone that you are looking at. And that saved the people of Gambaga and their animals.
Our journey continued to the famous Gambaga Witches Camp, renowned for providing refuge to elderly women accused of witchcraft by their families and communities. The Witches Camp has existed for centuries. In an interview, Dr. Musa Yamba narrated its history and dispelled false narratives often propagated in the media about the camp.
People term it a witches' camp. It is not a witches' camp. It is a care camp, a resettlement camp. And in Mamprugu, it is an old ladies' camp. It all started in 1864. That was during the reign of one Nayiri called Nabarga. So it so happened that this woman called Samata was accused of being a witch and also accused of being too troublesome for the control of Nabarga. So at a stage, the palace met and decided that she was too powerful to stay within their community. So it was agreed that she should be executed, she should be killed. Where they were killing people was known as Bandar Zwa. That is the hill between Gambaga and Nalerugu. Samata was taken by these people towards Bandari, that is from Nalerugu coming down towards Gambaga. Fortunately, they met the chief imam from Gambaga moving to meet the Nayiri at Nalerugu. The chief imam in Gambaga was the liaison between the whites and then the Gambarana and the Nayiri. So when the chief imam, Liman Baba, was going, he met these people and the woman. So when he met them, he asked them the mission, and they narrated the story as to how she is troublesome and she's a witch, and they had to go and kill her. Then he said that no, in Islam, we don't accept taking lives. So let's go back to the Nayiri, that is Nabarga. So when they got back to the Nairi. He pleaded with the Nairi. As Muslims, they don't allow life to be taken. Fortunately, his chief, that is the chief of Gambaga, is a Tendana. He is in charge of the gods. So he wants to plead with the Nairi to give the woman to him so that he will go and hand her over to the Gambarana, for the Gambarana to put her before the gods, such that she would no more have the powers to bewitch anybody. So this was how Nabarga allowed the woman to follow Liman Baba to Gambaga. So when Liman Baba arrived in Gambaga, he took the woman to the Gambarana and narrated the story as to how he came across them. The Gambarana accepted to take the woman. And that was the beginning of how the camp started. So anytime any woman is now accused of witchcraft in any of the villages around, he is brought to Gambaga. So their settlement keep expanding. So this is how the camp started.
Madame Gladys Larba Mahama, a Reverend Minister in charge of Nalurgu Presbyterian Fellowship and coordinator of the Presbyterian Go Home Project, corroborated Dr. Musa's account. Madame Gladys further elaborated on how the Presbyterian Church partnered with the Gambaga chief to care for the women's needs.
The Presby Church came in around the 60s and tried to help the chief to take care of the women. So that time he started seeking for second-hand clothing, looking for some relief services, and trying to care for them whenever they were sick. And so he did that around the 60s up to 94, when the church saw that they could do more than what they were doing. And so they came out with a proposal, a strategic plan as to how to care for these women. The proposal, they came out clearly what we need to do at the home. They saw that the women, whenever they are sick, because of their number, it's not easy for the chief to send them to hospital. So the church came in. One of the things that we planned to do was to send them to hospital and pay their bills. And one was to see to it that their children, some of them come with children, some were pregnant and they came and gave birth here. And so we see to it that the children are in school. Then we try to integrate them back to their original communities. And since then, the church has been doing this in collaboration with the chief. Since then, we have been able to send a whole lot of women home. And we make follow-ups.
When they said that everyone bothered to go home, I too I like that. But when I didn't see my house, I won't go home. I can't enter somebody's house, and she said that I come to cut her children.
Our team embarked on a long journey to the Mamprugu Mwaduri district, where we visited some historical sites. The first stop was a significant ebony tree in Yagaba, known as Dabaga. In Mamprugu, Ga means ebony tree and Daba refers to slaves. The name stems from the tree's use as a site for slave trading during the transatlantic slave trade era. Historically, Yagaba hosted a thriving slave market where captives from neighboring villages were sold to merchants who then marched from south to sell to European slave traders. Although the other trees where slaves were chained no longer exist, the ebony tree remains can be found in the Yagaba market. few kilometers west of Yagava lies the village of Yikpabongu, renowned for its large deposits of ancient terracotta artifacts buried in several mounds. These artifacts, dating back centuries, indicate that an ancient civilization existed in the area long before its current inhabitants. The people of Yikpabongu are Nkrumah and speak the Colonial language, which is distinct from any other language in northern Ghana. The artifacts discovered by the locals are beautifully crafted into various forms, including humans and animals. We have the privilege of speaking with lawyer Ben Baluri Saibu, the first Member of Parliament for the West Mamprugu district. He recounted the discovery of the artifacts.
Let me begin by saying that I am not a discoverer, and nobody, whether in Ghana here or abroad, can claim that he has discovered these artifacts in Ghana. We were born to see them until later part of 1970. I realized that some of the village young men were digging out the artifacts and selling to people. Not knowing, some of them knew that these were artifacts and that they were very valuable in the antique world. I think in 1981, I came home, and when I was going around the village, I saw these things in people's houses, their courtyards. Nobody has kept them in their rooms. Why do you now keep them in their rooms? They say, oh, teacher, some people came here. We showed them some. They took them to Dunko Onofe. Then after some time, they came back and said we should go out and dig more, that they would give us money for cola and a petition. The following morning, I summoned a meeting of the whole village and told the whole village, these things the ancient people left behind, I don't know whether they are useful or not, but don't touch them. Leave them. Then just after the meeting, the following day, an uncle died. And when they were digging the grave, they came across 5 big artifacts. They came and called me, teacher, hey, come and see your things. I went and saw there, 5 of them. I took custody of them. And then before I went back, I called a meeting of the village again. I told people in this village to inform their neighbors, ask whether these things are in their villages, and you tell them not to touch them, they should leave them.
Lawyer Baluri Saibu also highlighted efforts made by the community to engage archaeologists to conduct carbon dating to uncover more of these unique artifacts.
I said I was going to take the 5 they gave me to the National Museum. And in April 1981, I was in the National Museum with those I collected from the village. My aim was to find out from the museum whether they had any idea about these things in northern Ghana, or for that matter, any other part of Ghana. Then the director, he's now no more, Mr. Nunu, may he rest in peace. He called his fellow professors at the museum and they interviewed me, and I gave them a detailed account of these things and where they could be found. So they said, okay, so teacher, what you have told us about is unique. We never on earth thought that there was any such thing like this in Ghana. So now that our attention has been brought to them, you go back to your school, Wesley Grammar, where you are teaching. We'll find time and then we'll travel with you to your home village so that we can see things for ourselves. And it took me 4 good years before they finally decided that in November 1984, we were in this village. So we went round and they saw the things as you have seen them. And the following morning, we toured a few villages, Tantala, Tandu, where the mounds are even more exciting than what you have just seen. And then I think on the 3rd day, we went back to Accra. And I also went back to Wesley Grammar, where I was teaching. So the plan now was to get the National Museum and the University of Ghana, the Department of Archaeology, to come and do what they called sampling excavation. So after this, and we all went back.
He narrated how a Dutchman once sneaked into the village and exploited the artifacts for sale in France.
You know what annoyed me? When I gave the museum the information, and the information got to Legon, some Dutch crook came and deceived Legon and sneaked into this village and got the boys to dig their artifacts. He and his wife sneaked them out to Ouagadougou, to Holland, and to France and sold. Then they had the guts to come back the second time because the things were in the bush. Nobody who can. So when I got the information, oh, come on, straight to the National Museum. You see, when I say you should come and do the thing quickly so that we can plan at the national level, you are delaying. Crooks have come in and they are urging the boys to dig out, and they will destroy the evidence.
In 1985, lawyer Baluri sacrificed his job to get to the University of Ghana Department of Archaeology to bring students and professors to Yikpabongu. They stayed for 6 months conducting sample excavations.
Eventually, Legon, the University of Ghana, the Department of Archaeology, they came here where the Legon professors came and stayed with their students to do the sample excavation in 1985. You know what I did? I had to sacrifice my teaching appointment by coming home here with them, with leave without pay for 6 months. I was here with them. They did the first excavations, wrote their big reports, and we went back to Legon. Oh, the information had now already gone abroad. And so the smuggling of the artifacts was intensified. Fortunately, things stabilized. And that was the era of Jerry John Rawlings. So he was very particular about the artifacts being found all over Europe. And he didn't understand why. So Professor Nkwande and Co, who came here first, they had to be quizzed. And Rawlings found that it was the National Museum who gave Nkwande Legon permit to come and do the excavation. It is only the National Museum that can give any academic institution a permit to come and excavate in any part of Ghana. A people without a culture is a group of meaningless human logs because they are property of the state. They are our cultural heritage, and it will not just be left for anybody at all to come and dig without protection of the law. As things progressed, Legon now started running what we call a field school system. January to about February or early part of March, they will come here with their students. So anytime they were coming, I had to leave the classroom and then come here with them. I was called to the bar in 1986. By then, the program had already started. So my legal practice was even affected. I didn't want to take many cases. Then when I'm in court, hey, where's your lawyer? He has gone to his village. I'll be unfair to my clients. So it affected my legal practice, but I wasn't bothered. Looking at things from hindsight, I decided to move to find out whether Ghana as a nation knew about these things. And if they knew, what can we do so that they will benefit the country as being our cultural property, our cultural heritage.
He also addressed the cultural significance of the artifacts. Plans to establish a museum in the region for these artifacts were advanced but ultimately failed. Lawyer Baluri attributed this failure to government's negligence.
You learn from the past to improve on the present and to plan again for the future. So it is for you, the youth. You go around your country, dig out the information, share it. When the National Museum Director, Mr. Baisi, came here, down there, we earmarked 2 acres land. It was to be a center for study of the ancient the terracotta civilization. It was to have a research station with a laboratory so that other countries will come with their archaeology students to come and stay here, study and do practical archaeological work in the field. They came out with drawings. Since then, nothing. Yeah, it's national inertia. As for the plans, they are nothing new. We've talked about them. But which government will move? 1993, I was there. I was in Manchester Museum. They invited me to attend the exhibition on these artifacts. Only Atamils that I did not get to inform him about this. Kufuor was to come here after commissioning the Pacific Bridge because he had been informed about this civilization and he wanted to come and see the students at work. But that day, there was a problem in Kenya, fighting. And so Kufuor was called back to Accra. And so he did not succeed in getting here. Then John Dramani Mahama, our own brother, he came. He said, lawyer, prepare the chiefs. I'll come and see the students at work. I came and did. We invited other chiefs, only for me to be told that he had gone to South Africa. More pressing state assignments. State assignment, South Africa, more important than these things. It isn't that there are no plans to project this civilization and which in the end will bring what? National income. But there isn't the goodwill. It's national inertia, with all respect. People are sleeping. They don't care about these things.
From the East Mamprugu municipality, we took a trip to the Mamprugu Nakpanduri district, where we visited some fascinating tourist sites. Our first stop was Nakpanduri, where we explored the famous Gambaga Escarpment. This humongous natural edifice captivates visitors with its stunning scenery. Noted as one of the highest peaks in the country and the highest in the northern region, we climbed to the top to get a breathtaking view of the vast surrounding landscape. Our tour guide, Mr. Samuel Adamu, accompanied us and shared the historical significance of the escarpment with the people of Nakpanduri. He explained that the escarpment served as a safe haven for the ancestors during times of war.
As an escarpment, we have the gentle side and the steep side. So we are facing the steep side, and the other side is the gentle side. This escarpment is a free gift of nature to the good people of Ghana and Northeast region. It is a historical place where our great-grandfathers, in times of war, they ran to go and hide. So when you go to the peak there are caves. When you come, you will see pictures and debris of the things they used for cooking. They used to grind their foodstuffs and all those things. There are also baobab trees there that they used to pluck them as food to prepare soup for themselves. So it is a very historical site. When you get to this place, you really like the place. It is one of the highest points in Ghana, as we all know, the Gambaga Escarpment. When you come here, it encompasses of the waterfall, the Nkrumah guest house. Then we have a river that is at the steep side, which we get river sand from. Actually, there are no wild animals here that will disturb your peace when you get to this place, because people are all over the place. They go down to farm, some farm at the gentle side and all those places. So it has driven away wild animals. But when you look at the steep side, it is a very good place for skipping, just as people do in Kwau. This is just, let me say, the same, all alike.
Mr. Adamu also made a passionate appeal to investors to develop the site, emphasizing the potential of generating revenue for both investors and the state.
When you come to this place, you can invest very well. When the place is well developed, that you attract tourists, because day in, day out, we get tourists from international places and then within Ghana. So day in, day out, you see the white people coming here to check and to have a look at it. But at the end, nothing comes to the people of Ghana and to the people of Nampanduri. So economically, if you are a developer and you come here to develop this place, it is going to get you a lot of income and a lot of revenue to the government of Ghana.
Next, we made a brief stop at the Kwame Nkrumah Guest House in Nakpanduri, a building constructed by Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Mr. Samuel Adamu provided further insights into the history of the guest house,
which was built in the early 1960s. He was supposed to be here on a day, and that day he passed through Kurungungu, a town in the Upper East region, closer to Burkina Faso, where they attempted to kill him. And because of the attempt to overthrow him or take his life, he took a flight and flight back to Accra instead of passing to Nampanduri guest house, where he made them to build so that he would come and stay there for a while.
He expressed concern over the lack of attention from the central government towards this historical structure. The guest house is in a dilapidated state, with its rooms unable to attract tourists or guests. He appealed to the government to invest in renovating the guest house, which could serve as a source of revenue for the state.
Since his overthrown in 1966, the building has not seen the light of the day. There's no one to come and look after the building. Government officials has come, but a president of the Republic, since Kwame Nkrumah was not able to come here himself, after it was built, none of the presidents in Ghana has come to visit it. But we only see local government ministers sometimes come here, regional ministers, tourism and recreational ministers. They sometimes come here to come and look at the place, talk about how to develop it. Sometimes they visit the paramount chief, visit the district chief executive, but still we've not seen anything like improvement in the building. The rooms are dilapidated, some of the rooms are leaking. It is only a caretaker by name Mr. Dut who is taking care of the place since 2003. It is not in the right state for guests to come and patronize, of which it would have been a benefit, revenue to the government and to the traditional authorities. So it will be very important if we get investors who can come and invest in this building, rebrand it and make it a modern state of a guest house.
Further east of Nakpanduri lies the district capital, Mamprugu, home to another fascinating tourist site, the Mystic Stone. According to oral tradition, the stone, shaped like the map of Africa, was carved by Arab invaders known as Al-Morabis, who passed through the region in the 13th century. We had the privilege of speaking with an elder, Dut Banle Rafik, who narrated the history behind the stone.
History has it that in the year 1240, there was an invasion by Arabs through the northern Africa, the then Sudan, which extended up to the Atlantic Ocean in West Africa. These Arabs were known as Almoravids, and so that invasion was termed Almoravis invasion. So what we know about this Almoravis invasion was that anywhere they entered, you accept Islam peacefully and live with them, and they will convert you to Islam, or they fight you and force you into Islam. So everywhere, anywhere they went, even up to date, you can still find some of their traces. So when they came through this Mamprugu, that times of our great-grandfathers had not even settled here. They started settling, but they had not yet settled. So they carved this stone out of I made it into Africa, the map of Africa. So when you look at the map, it is exactly the map of Africa with Madagascar attached.
Explaining the rationale behind carving the rock into the shape of Africa, Mr. Dude said it symbolized that the Almorabes had traveled across the entire African continent.
They just put this to show that they have known Africa, and so they made this as a historical artifact for people who will come after to know that once upon a time a certain people came around here and they were geographers and they had traveled through Africa and they have left their footprints here.
In the West Mamprugu municipality, several tourist sites urgently need government attention, one of which is the Nkrumah rest house in Karimenga. This rest house, built in the mountains surrounding Karimenga, served as a lodge for Ghana's first president whenever he visited the northern region. Unfortunately, like the guest house in Nakanduri, the Karimenga rest house is in a sorry state and requires urgent renovation. We spoke to the chief of the village, Chief Wuni, who shared the history of the rest house with us.
Como Nkrumah dia Ghana, saka tiado na bigben. Ka oti kenayel tiado anu bodo damia o yiri konkonajo. Ko yen nga shur ben ka chandu wal ungul su palma komnya. Ba mi ngada nang lantim ya kanama ka sugo tiado mara yure. Bare ti yuwa. O badiara yirma zo pongata. Ore kyanana ngati o gare o gbenne ka gata. Ya mangne ka kom kuna ngada be patam siama. Tengah mar jirma pam ama kom kuna ngakane nkekte tengah ngalam nyangma.
He revealed that a building neglect has turned it into a hideout for criminals who use it as a base to commit crimes on the Wale-Wale-Bolga Road under the cover of darkness.
Kata yikete kena bandwa ngaramia olodu makamia tank bong mangama. Kabish tanwa sasu masigamba bane. Yung ya pala kabayina. Nguru pale
Chief Wuni stated that the community has reached out to the West Mamprugu Municipal Assembly to renovate the site and repurpose it, but the appeals has fallen on deaf ears.
Itu aran terbawa kan kulma ka ba mbo da farin bolma hanne suna babu nan tiya kai tiyare ba min bubu ban mal yilla ka kenan visa ne ba nan ka shi kenan di ka ba mal ka be ne ayi ba nan ka min ban nan daga ba gwa yin man da miya ka mal ka fa kada Allah han por ko mun kun wa yuru da san bon sabba de na vil pam.
Our team visited the Ziyaara Mosque in Wulugu, where we interacted with the General Secretary of the Mamprugu Concerned Muslims Youth Association, Mr. Hisham Suleimana. He narrated the history of the mosque and the man behind its construction. The mosque is located near Wulugu Senior High School. The building of the mosque was started in 1962 and got completed in 1964 by the Islamic scholar Sheikh Abukari Wulugu Mori. Built with mud in the Sudanese architectural style, the structure has survived for decades without any cohesive materials like cement or iron rods, yet it remains intact. Hisham Suleimana shared details about the origins of the mosque.
Boku, to be precise, where they gave birth to him. He roamed so many parts of Burkina and then so many parts of Ghana until this architectural design was shown to him in his dream that the place is at what? Wulugu. He came and settled here with some students who gathered around him and they constructed this beautiful edifice. His children and then his students, including himself, these are the three categories of people who came out and constructed this mosque in the year 1962. And by the year 1964, everything completed. However, or contrary, yearly he used to add certain parts, maybe push some part away and then redesign it again until 5 years before his demise. He gathered his students and children and told them that he has completed the construction of this edifice.
He emphasized that a mosque is not just a physical structure, but also a spiritual center. It is a place where Muslims who wish to encounter the Prophet Muhammad and other pious figures have their wishes fulfilled.
He named it Ziyaara, meaning, in Islamic point of view, a visit to the pious men of God. So if you want to visit the Prophet or any of his disciples, that is the group of men of God, the Wilaya or the Sufis, they used to meet him here and they talk before they leave. I'm referring to the spiritual world, not the physical world. So this is a spiritual visit point. So here, it is solely the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he was doing here. That was why it got to some point, he moved away all his family, 100 meters away from this edifice to settle in another place. So that is the brief history concerning this edifice here.
Moving to Janga in the West Mamprugu municipality, there is another enchanting tourist site that has not received the attention it deserves. This particular tourist site, known in local language as Kultura, is shrouded in mystery, and tourists who visit it are mesmerized by its breathtaking nature. It revolves around the two major rivers in the north, the Black Volta and the White Volta. These two rivers, with distinctly different water colors, meet at a point, yet their waters do not mix. The water flows together for some distance before separating again and taking their own courses. In the Wajiko community of Chiriponi, we encountered another fascinating sight, the Mystic Stone. According to oral history, a group traveling from Chiriponi area to Mango in present-day Togo discovered the stone. Mr. Wajalajo Abdul Fattah summarized the history of the Mystic Stone.
The name Bafana came about as a young man who was passing to Mango and saw the stone, a precious stone, and decided to pick the stone along. He picked the stone. When he got to Mango to drop the stone, that the stone refused what? To be dropped. So the stone demanded that it should be brought back to where he was picked. And then the man brought the stone back to Najiko. When he reached, he kept the stone, but they were amazed for such a stone to be carried and refused to drop there, and came back to the original place and they were able to drop it. Since then, it has become an annual practice that every year they do come and specify on the stone. And quite apart from that, on a demand base, if they also happen to hear that the stone needs any sacrifice, they will come and do the sacrifice.
In Chiriponi, we visited a German bridge, an important historical site. Historically, the French initially constructed a bridge connecting Ghana to Togo. A district culture officer from the Ghana Education Service explained the construction of the bridge and its historical significance.
German and the France fought. So the German drove away what we call the French people. So they went. So then they came back, the German came back. So when they came back, the British also came. They were fighting over it. So the British came and they were able to conquer the German. So the Germans were angry. So they decided to what? To bend their first bridge that they constructed. That one, it was a wooden one. So when the British conquered them, they decided to what? To bend the bridge, the wooden one, and went. So the British also came in and then used the rock and then the muddy soil to construct the road, the bridge that we see over there. Their mission of coming here is because of trading. So that made them to construct that road.
a retired educationist, politician, philanthropist and chief Panadana Nabla Suleimana spoke about the importance of preserving the Northeast region's tourist sites.
Tourist attractions are very important in the development of a nation, and particularly in the development of Northeast region. And these are areas, when they are well exploited and tapped, we can get a lot of revenue and resources from such areas. So I think it behoves on us to appeal to our donor partners outside to see how they can help us to tap these untapped tourist attractions that are abound in our region, so that we can also get the benefits of tourism.
Chief Panadana Nabla Suleimana made a passionate appeal to the various assemblies and traditional rulers to prioritize the preservation of these historical and cultural treasures.
It behooves on we, the chiefs, to make sure that we try to put in order and maintain our attraction sites before we can call on outsiders to help us. If we don't do that, nobody will come. And with this, I will still carry it up to the Nairis elders, because they lead us as elders, so that we can take a concerted effort to make sure that we protect and preserve our attracting sites.
The Northeast region of Ghana is a land of untold stories, cultural richness, and breathtaking landscapes. Its potential as a major tourism hub is undeniable, yet it remains a hidden gem waiting to shine. From the historical grandeur of Najaringawo and the mystic writings of Zarantinga to the scenic beauty of the Gambaga Escarpment, the Yikpabongu terracotta artifacts, the region brims with opportunities to enrich Ghana's heritage and economy. We call on government to prioritize the development and maintenance of these sites by investing in infrastructure, publicity, and preservation. We urge traditional rulers to champion the cause of protecting these cultural treasures, ensuring they remain a legacy for future generations. To investors, the Northeast region offers untapped potential and a promising return on investment in ecotourism, hospitality, and cultural tourism. Finally, to the international community and non-governmental organizations, your support in raising awareness and funding preservation projects will not only bring global attention to this region, but also uplift the lives of these people. Let us collectively work to transform the Northeast region into a must-visit destination, celebrating its history and ensuring its stories resonate far beyond its borders. The journey starts with you. Be a part of this transformation today.
The travel and tourism industry contributes an average of $3.5 billion to Ghana's GDP annually. Can you imagine how much more we could be getting as a country if all these tourist sites were given the needed attention? And as a proud son of the Northeast region of Ghana, I invested my personal scanty resources to bring this to light, just so that you, the stakeholder, and the duty bearer can take it up. Any partnership and assistance whatsoever would be much appreciated. Feel free to contact me on 024 3923 709. You can also check me out on social media, Director Anas on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. On TikTok, Director_Anas.